Welcome to episode 1 of Hawk and Talk. First off, I want to shout out the audience for helping us kickstart this project and our amazing producers who helped give us this opportunity. So with that out of the way, first of all, I want to also shout out our boy Daniel. You know, he's joining us in the booth today. Would you like to say anything to the audience?
Not much, but thanks for having me here today.
Okay.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, Based on the ratings, we'll see how many episodes we'll have. So today we will be talking about our book, If I Ever Get Out of Here, by Erica Gansworth. But first, we'll turn it back to Matthias for a word from our sponsor.
All right. So we've partnered up today with Feeding America and the Salvation Army to provide you with a means of donating to those who need clean clothes, clean food, and clean water, because there are millions of kids each day who wake up not knowing if they're going to survive or not. But luckily today we've been able to partner up with them, and they've given us several resources for you guys to help make their lives better. And we're also going to be donating $10 million for their foundation in order to restore their lives and hopefully provide a better future for them. So with that done, let's go ahead and turn it to Daniel, who's going to give us more info on our book.
Discrimination, poverty, and prejudice are very sensitive topics for some people, but you have to realize that it played a very important role in the development of our country. So let's talk facts.
So our first topic is discrimination and the negative effects it can have on the lives of people who just want to make an honest living. Because right now, maybe it's not as common, but back then, maybe like the early 2000s, late 90s, segregation was still a very large thing, and many people were affected by it because they couldn't go to the same place as white people, and black people had like the less advantage. They had lesser pay. They had
Colored people?
Colored people would always like be segregated. They couldn't go to the same restaurants, and that significantly impacted the way people lived because they were always in fear. They were always sad. But for more information on that and how it ties to our book, we're going to give it over to Daniel.
Yes, it's very true of what you said. In pages 18, we can see that a visit to the reservation is considered a punishment to white kids, which outlines the racism and discrimination against Native Indians.
Oh yeah, so we can see here that Zachary, here he questions, he's like, Air Force housing, and our main character Lewis is like, what's to do with that anyway? And he's like, well, it's basically the same thing. Air Force housing and the reservation are very similar because that's where most people who are maybe bad, or maybe not bad, but just like of lesser class go to get just permanently settled and away from white people who don't really want to see them.
So in the book it says, when some kids are bad in white families, my mom said, sighing, their moms and dads say they'll dump them off among the wild Indians and let them find their own way home. The wild Indians? Were their punishment? You're making this up, I said. They were both sharp, and poking fun at each other is absolutely the way of life on the reservation. But my mom's expressions told me they were serious and not just busting my chops. So in this section, it's exposing as Daniel said, it's exposing the racism and discrimination that white people impose on Indians and colored people.
Oh yeah, so we can see that Lewis, our main character, in school, he wasn't treated very well either. He was always like excluded from the major groups, and he would always like be set aside and like not be very interactive with other people. So if that's said, we're going to go ahead and switch it over to our second topic, which our boy Jeremy is going to cover.
So poverty is a very negative thing that comes from prejudice. It traps people in hardships, making life tough. For example, Lewis in the book, you can see that he lives a very substandard life.
Oh yeah, like in a shack,
Substandard, in the shack, and he's embarrassed to show people his home. Like we can see that when, is it Carson?
Yeah, Carson.
Carson and Lewis and Carson go on a joyride, and then on the way back, Lewis tells Carson to stop midway. So there we can see, and even in the book, it says that he feels embarrassed that...
Oh yeah, there's also like, one scene where like they're coming from George's house, and Lewis's mom literally turns off the light so they can't see inside the house.
Yeah, exactly like that. That's things like that can reveal to the reader that Lewis feels embarrassed by his living situation, which comes as a result of poverty.
Okay, yeah, so, yeah, I really understand, he lives in a life where, like, he doesn't have, like, new furniture, maybe, like, not the newest car, or maybe even not a TV, and maybe, well, when he goes to George's house, he sees how different life is, even though George himself isn't necessarily a U.S. citizen, but they still live very different lives, they have very different lifestyles, and even the way they talk, is very different. George is German, I believe, and Lewis is Indian, and this, like, is a very different contrast to what, normal relationship would be at the time, like, just white people talking with white people. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and introduce our articles we found. We have various statistic information and percentages of minorities who have reported being excluded and discriminated against. We're going to go ahead and give the spotlight to Jeremy so we can go ahead and start us off.
So in this article, it was found that in healthcare encounters, 32% of black adults reported discrimination, as did 23% of Native Americans, and along with other percentages of minority groups and colored peoples.
Oh yeah, so later on in the text we can also see that many of those minority groups also avoided using healthcare for this reason, as they might be charged more than the average person just because of their background or race, and this is why many Latinos or black people don't have proper health insurance because they simply can't afford it. So
sometimes they also might face discrimination or unfair treatment.
Oh yeah.
From other people.
Okay, so Dan, add some piece of your article.
So from our article, we can see that Native American students in public schools face barriers to educational achievements due to racism, prejudice, and ignorance from fellow students, teachers, and administrators. Native Americans have endured various forms of discrimination that range from forcible cutting, upbraiding by peers to addition to experiencing overt acts of racism.
So these findings of the article illustrate the significant and widespread level of discrimination against the many groups in America, as well as different manifestations or the places where this may pop up, this racism and discrimination in different areas of life across different groups.
Yeah, and all of this is maybe like some of this news is more modern, like, maybe have more information about people like going to schools and being treated unfairly, but before, in like past times, people were treated even worse. They were maybe kicked out of establishments, or maybe not even allowed to go to schools on their own because of their race and schools policies. So right now times are a lot better, but they're definitely not 100% like as you should.
There's still definitely a lot more work to be done.
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah. There's a lot of work and laws to be established.
So in conclusion, discrimination and prejudice is something that should not even exist in the first place. Like, it's a negative aspect that affects many people, like the majority of people in the world. But if everyone in the community makes an effort to stop this, a little bit of effort from each person, we can eradicate this problem and provide fair opportunities for all, and we can all live in peace and harmony.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree with that statement. The world would be much better if there was just a little bit less discrimination. But that would be all for this podcast. I hope the audience had a great time today. And I also want to shout out our boy Daniel for making some time out of his day to be with us here.
Hey, my pleasure.
Oh yeah, so I hope you give us a good review so we can go ahead and get that 5-star rating. And
once again, thanks to our sponsors, the Salvation Army and Feeding America, for making this possible. Check them out when you have the chance to, and maybe you could help out somebody's life. See you in the next one.
Okay, just count down.
Back.
Episode 1 of... Why do you change this?
Talking and talking.
Okay, fine. Okay.
Talking and talking.
No, I'm doing Hawk Talk.
No.
Welcome to episode 1 of Hawk Talk.
Talking and talking. You talking and talking.
Bro, I'm gonna kick you off my podcast, bro. not here.
Guys, hear this. It's good.
They're actually considered. Okay, this is not a podcast about racism. This is a podcast against clear book bags. No clear book
But
bags.
nah, it's for the
We hate
GS
clear book
community.
Yeah, I don't like the clear book bag policy.
I do not like.
I did not approve of it.
I do not like.
I did not
clear
vote,
book
and I know
bags.
that many people did not vote.
Please, no clear book bags.
Yeah,
Discrimination, poverty, and prejudice are very
Prejudice.
okay, wait, hold on. We gotta calm down. Our faces are gonna be all red.
Bro.
Okay,
discrimination, poverty, and prejudice.
Bro. Oh my.
okay. This time, this time, it doesn't matter how he says it. We're just gonna continue on, okay?
Why so serious?
I'll include this in all the. Okay, it doesn't matter how you say it this time.
Okay,
Fine.
3,
Not laugh.
2, 1, go.
Discrimination.
Bro, he laughed.
He's already.
Bro, son puros changuitos, bro. Okay, look him. Okay, 3, 2, 1.
Discrimination.
Stop, bro. Yo, we gotta get serious, bro. We gotta get serious. Okay, 3, 2, 1. No joke, for real. 3, 2, 1, go. Stop. Yo, this guy can't be serious, bro.
The poverty and prejudice are very sensitive topics for some of it.
Why is your voice getting out?
Yeah, we're getting cooked, bro. Dang, bro. Bro! Yo, y'all can't be serious, bro.
Faz mal tomar uma vez que me tá tendo.
It's good.
Okay.
Prejudice.